Now, we did want to talk to you again on the show this evening because when it comes to the league, as well as the Dubs catching the eye, the other big story of the league is in London, because after no game for 23 months on account of the pandemic, London are back with a bang. They've won 3 games from 3. They started off against Carlow at Netwatch Cullen Park, where they had 11 players making their first outing, and they beat Carlow by a single point. That was their first opening day win, by the way, since 1991. And then round 2, they were at Ruislip and they beat Waterford also by a point. It was 15-14 all in. And then round 3, just at the weekend, they were playing at the Connacht Centre of Excellence and they beat Leitrim 11 points to 9. So an amazing start to the league, and not least after 23 months with no game. So we're very happy to bring in 2 London players. We have James Hynes with us, who is originally from Tramore West in Sligo. James, how you doing? You can hear us okay there?
Yeah, I can hear you good. Yeah.
Good man. And then we have Liam Gavaghan, born in London, Irish parents from Sligo and Mayo respectively, and as of 2017, I think, the London captain. Liam, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
So I need to know what I'm dealing with here. James, tell me a bit about Liam for a moment. And don't worry, Liam, I'll give you a chance to get your revenge in a second. Give me the lowdown here on Gavaghan. What are we saying?
I suppose since I moved over to London, he's one of the guys, a London-born player that's in on the panel, as well as a couple other lads, and he's been captain since I've come over. And I suppose he leads by example all the time, both on and off the field. And he's just, if he was back in Ireland, he'd fit into most inter-county teams, no problem. And he's just a top guy to work with, I guess.
I saw he scored 1-3 on the opening day as well against Carlow.
Yeah, it was. He's consistent in scoring. Like, he chips away at points all the time from play. Never mind him being an excellent free taker. So it's great to have him in the side there with the rest of our shooting and sharp forwards.
Very good. So Liam, on James. By the way, James there was far too nice. I was looking for gossip. I was looking for nicknames. I was looking for scandal. So, I mean, he was far too nice about you there. Tell us about James Hynes from Sligo.
Yeah, no, he's a great lad. He's been in the panel now for a few years, and yeah, he's the joker of the pack, really. So he keeps the team ticking over, and nobody's safe, really. So he's always trying to wind somebody up, and he's great to have around the change room, and you need people like him in a change room because it knits it all together. So he's brilliant.
And so, Liam, you've been on the scene, obviously, for a long time with London. I think 2011 was your debut. I read your championship debut was against Mayo. Was that the game where you almost caught Mayo? It was like James Horan's first game. Is that year?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. We went to extra time with them that year in Ruislip. So, we nearly caught them in normal time, and then extra time, unfortunately, maybe we ran out a little bit of legs and they pulled away. But, it was very close, and it was a great introduction for me. Like, I thought, playing Mayo in 2011, like every year would be like that. Like, Ruislip was amazing. Like, the atmosphere was incredible. So for me at 18 to come into that, it made me really push on and want more,
Okay, so you were in the dressing room afterwards saying, it's always like this around here, right?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So that's a great introduction. And then, I mean, there are tough years and there are tougher years. And I guess the pandemic is definitely particularly tough for London. So no game in 23 months. So what was that like, Liam? Are you guys even bothering to get together and train, or is it total shutdown and I'll see you when I see you, fellas?
Yeah, it was a total shutdown, to be honest. Even, we played club. We had a couple of club seasons in, and even they were short because of COVID and whatnot. So, it was very tough. We didn't know when we were going to get back. So literally lads were just training on their own and hoping to get back when we could. And thankfully this year, we got back into the league and we're enjoying it.
James, I know you were part of the Sligo squad up until maybe 2016. When did you go over to London and why?
I moved over for work in 2000, and this is my 4th year, 2000 and January 2019. So yeah, it's just basically a work opportunity I got, and had a connection then with a football club over here, the North London Shamrocks, and just got work through that basically, and I'm here since.
Right, and what's work, if you don't mind me asking?
I work for a construction company, Toher Construction, so I'm just in the plant and transport with them guys since I came over.
Okay, and are you enjoying London life?
I am, yeah. It's a big change, obviously, to West Sligo, but no, you don't be long getting used to it. Like, it takes a while, I suppose, at the start, but you don't be long finding your feet, and especially I suppose through the GAA, it's massive to get together with lads that's probably in the same boat as you. Do you know what I mean? Just over here and not knowing too many, and then you just get to meet everyone, and it's great.
Yeah, I can imagine there's no quicker way to settle than to plug into a dressing room and a WhatsApp group, and you're up and running fairly quickly. And did you get involved with London pretty much straight away? Was that always at the back of your mind you might do that?
No, it was at the back of my mind, but I wasn't actually called in the first year. I suppose we came over in January, and like the club scene over here is a little bit strange. There's like a warm-up competition at the start, and a lot of teams tend to pull out or that, so you don't have much football. But no, I didn't go in at all the first year. So then the second year, under Kieran Deely, I was brought into the panel, and just been in there since. Yeah, it's
blew them all away. Obviously, Liam, was it?
Blew them all away. Yeah. They'd all heard the good stories. So
he's better than we heard. My God.
Yeah.
As I understand it, I don't have a great feel for London GAA, but I was just doing a bit of reading. So, Liam, you'd obviously be the perfect man to fill us in. As I understand it, we have 8 teams playing senior club football in London, 8 teams playing intermediate, 9 playing junior. So we're talking what, about 25 GAA clubs across London. Is that your sense of it?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, it's about 25. Yeah.
And are they struggling for numbers? And is it a constant battle, or are they healthy and thriving?
I think most clubs are thriving. I think over COVID I think a lot of Irish lads came over actually, which really boosted the GAA scene in London. So like the competition last year was, a higher standard maybe than what other years would have been. So and I think London now this year are reaping the rewards from that. So lads have stayed here, and more lads have committed to the county team this year. So I think all in all, COVID helped the London scene because more lads came over, and it improved the standard.
Your own story, Liam, as I understand it, you're the first English-born player to captain London, and your parents, Liam and Margaret from Sligo and Mayo, moved the family over late 1980s, and that's where you were born. And I guess it's obvious then how you got into GAA.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, my parents moved over late 80s. Obviously, they only planned to be here for a year or two. But yeah, then I was born, and they've been here ever since. So my father is a big GAA man, follows Gaelic football, and he's out at every game. So since I was young, I was with him, and he brought me out as a youngster playing, and I've kept playing ever since.
I presume you had loads of mates at school who didn't have a clue what you were talking about when you said I play GAA.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, even now, like where I work and stuff, GAA, they wouldn't have a clue about it. So in one way, it's quite nice because when you finish a game and you head to work, nobody's really talking about it, and you can get away from it in a way, But at school, there still is an Irish community. I went to a Catholic school here in Greenford, like in West London, and there still is an Irish community there. And my club here, Chick on the Girls, are based in Greenford. So there's still a little Irish community within it. So everybody knows everybody, and it's similar to back in Ireland, really.
And was it so Irish, the school, that say at lunchtime would you play soccer or would you play GAA?
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be GAA. Yeah, it'd be playing soccer, really.
Yeah, stop picking up the ball, Liam, kind of thing. And the London team this year, I was reading, have a squad of 35, and the estimate I saw was that maybe there were 10 London-born players in the current London squad of 35. Is that how it's always been, Liam, this sense of, well, there are the players like James who go over and pitch in for however many years, and then you have a minority of London-born players, and that's kind of how London football has been in so much as you've been involved?
Yeah, definitely. I think if you go back like Paul Coggins and then obviously then Kieran Deely, the last manager, they had big emphasis on bringing through English-born lads. So I think, the biggest issue for the county team in London is the transition every year. So every year the team is changing, and that's tough. It's tough building a team year after year. So I think a plan was put in place, 10 years ago to try and bring through as many English-born lads as you can, because they're going to be here long term. So if you can build a team around that, and then like say James and lads coming over, if they get on board as well, then all good and well. But you have to rely on English-born lads to really keep it going year after year.
I guess you need that stability, all right? Because I was reading from the 2020 panel, I guess February 2020 when the world sort of shut down, 13 players are gone from that squad. So I presume, Liam, is that just lads who were over working and have decided to go home for whatever reason? So it's thanks a mil and thanks for the memories, but they're gone.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, they're gone. That's it. So, I think Irish lads, they come over here for a year or two, and football isn't what they come here for. They come here for work, and then, they might be gone then to Dubai, or they could be gone back home. So, yeah, it's very important that, the English lads that are here, that have grown up here, they're more than likely going to stay here for 10, 15 years, or they're going to be here permanently. So if you can build a team around that, then that's the way forward, really.
What are your plans, James? Are you sticking around, or is the call of home there?
I don't know. At the moment, I'm settled enough here, I suppose. It's like Liam's parents, when they came over, they didn't intend to stay here that long. When I came over first, I suppose I had a year in my mind. And now my girlfriend over here is threatening to move home. She's Irish as well. So whether that puts a little bit of a block in the way or whatever, but I'll probably be coming under more pressure to commit to something or mention even going home. But at the minute, no, I'm fairly well settled here now.
Yeah, James, I think it's pretty obvious how that's going to go for you.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So during the pandemic then, I guess, did it cross your mind, James, to get the hell out of Dodge and get home then? I can't presume you saw much of your family.
No, I didn't actually. I wasn't home for nearly a year and a half.
Wow.
At the time, it was, I suppose, the first month or two. It's just the fact of not knowing you can go home. Do you know what I mean? I'd have often maybe been over here for 2 or 3 months or maybe more without going home visiting beforehand. But it's just the fact that you can't go home. I suppose you miss home that little bit more. Yeah, it was the same for everyone. Do you know what I mean? As Liam was saying about an Irish community, it's a massive Irish community, even where I'm in North London here. And we were all in the same boat. So we just all kind of stuck together and stuck through it.
Yeah. Because Dromore West, so I've spent a bit of time in that neck of the woods. That's near Ballina in Escrone, that neck of the coastline, which is just absolutely beautiful. I'd say you were aching for it on certain days. Yeah,
there'd be some days now when you're looking out a flat at a busy motorway or whatever, you just wish you were at home, all right, yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. And what tends to be the case, I mean, well, James, I'll ask you, but I mean, Liam, you'd have a sense as well. So you're all playing for London, and there are the maybe 25 odd clubs in London. In an ideal world, James, would you have flown home to play for your club and then play your county for London? Because you do hear of players who play for London, but they're still very much, it's their club at home and it's a quick flight home. So what tends to be the done thing there?
I suppose it's, some lads do it. Like, I know the first year when I came over, I played, and then our club at home, St. Fernan's, they've improved massively since I left, funny enough.
Yeah, no, we get what we understand, yeah.
And I suppose the first year of the pandemic in 20, like, I was tempted to go home, but the pandemic kind of ruled that out, because it just wasn't possible, obviously, to be flying over and back. I was contacted, obviously, to go back and play, but it just never materialised with everything that went on in the world.
Yeah, so Farnham's had the post James Hynes bounce.
Yeah, exactly, and they're still on the rise as well. So it's I don't know, don't fancy going back sitting on the bench.
And how do you find London life generally? Because anytime I've been over there, I mean, you're always taken aback by the size of it, and like how to get anywhere takes an hour and a half. That just seems to be the way. Are you close to training? Is it a big sacrifice? Do you have employers that you can turn to and say, can I get off early because I've got to go GAA training? Yeah,
I do. Look, we're training there tonight, and I was just even saying to Liam, if I'm held up at this, I'll be late. It usually takes, it's about, I think, between 16 and 17 miles from where I'm based at work to West London, and you're talking anywhere between an hour and a half to 2 hours. So it is a big commitment in that way, but I suppose my employers and that are very understanding. Do you know what I mean? They just understand that if you have to leave a few minutes early or away weekends, that you can't be around on a Saturday, that you're flying back home for a game, they understand it, and fair play to them. They're very helpful in any way they can be.
Yeah, I do remember talking to a friend who moved over, and he was saying it's insane. It's like, to go anywhere, it's like getting the train to Athlone. It just seems to take forever. And of course, I mean, I'm sure you'll agree, James, the tube is a disgrace. It's just a terrible service. Night shifts in particular, really poor at night time. That's no good to anyone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's I don't know who's looking after it these days, but it's it's badly run and operated.
No, it's gone to the dogs. Liam,
gone to the dogs in the last while.
Liam, you'd agree the tube not up to much?
Shocking. Yeah, it's terrible.
So, come here. I was reading this about you. You obviously work for the Tube. Is the point for listeners wondering? You take night shifts. Now, is this your choice, and you would do this regardless, or is this very much a GAA in your mind kind of a decision to be working nights?
Oh no. No, it's the job I do. Unfortunately, it's night based really. So obviously the Tube's running all day. So the only opportunity we have to get on and fix these problems are at night when everything's shut down. So it to be honest, it doesn't really suit playing Gaelic football at weekends. I think during the week it's ideal for training and things like that because I sleep and I'm training basically when I wake up. So I'm feeling fresh. But in terms of changing your body clock then for weekends, for games, for like going over to Ireland to play like Leitrim there last weekend, that's very tough. Change your body clock, trying to catch a flight in the morning and then trying to sleep at normal at night. It's very tough. So for weekends I can find it really tough, but then it has its benefits during the week for training and things like that.
Okay, because I had read that you deliberately worked nights to allow your GAA take precedence, but the way you've explained it there, it definitely has its drawbacks. So for the Leitrim game, what was your schedule then? Did you work Friday night into Saturday morning? Is that how it went for you?
No, I book annual leave, so I book annual leave Friday night, and then I fly Saturday, and then obviously then the game Sunday. So I try and change my body clock. So I'd work Thursday night into Friday morning. I'd then get up early. I'd have a few hours sleep. Get up early Friday. I'd stay up Friday then and probably be a bit tired and grumpy and what have you. To then try and sleep Friday night, and then obviously then sleep Saturday night. So it can be quite tough trying to sleep Friday and Saturday night.
Yeah, because body clocks don't change in a day.
It's very tough. But you just have to be disciplined. Like I just have to plan it. I have to, set the alarm, make sure I get up at this time, and I just have to plan everything I do and just make it work really.
Yeah. So if you nod off Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock and suddenly wake up at 8, it's a disaster.
Yeah. I can't do that. No, I have to whack a few coffees into me and stay awake.
Yeah, God, I can imagine. One of the interesting things about this campaign, so 3 for 3 is fantastic, and we have away wins in there as well, which is brilliant. What jumped out to me in the opening match against Carlow at Cullen Park, that was London's first opening day win in the league since 1991, which is obviously a very significant period of time. One of the reasons for that traditionally, James, is that London don't get the pre-season tournaments that all the others get. So all the other counties are getting some games in and getting up to speed, and then London have to pitch up and go against them in the league, and it's obviously not ideal. So I wonder, was there a real emphasis on fitness on your part, your collective part this year, or how do you account for a first win since 1991?
Yeah, I think we just, this year especially, we got a great pre-season in. We started back in November. I suppose most inter-county teams do, or maybe a little bit beforehand, and we're just giving gym programs, running programs. But I just think everyone just kind of bought into it right from the start. And when you have 30, 35 lads all pulling in the one direction, it kind of momentum builds, and it's easier to go to training. Do you know what I mean? That you're not missing lads that can't make it or making up excuses or what have you. Like the friendlies are a big miss out. Like, do you know what I mean? We can have A versus B games, all right, but obviously with injuries or whatever, you might have to bring it down to 13, 14 aside, and it's just not ideal. Like, we got 2 good pre-season friendlies in this year against Down and the Armagh under-21s, which were a great help to us basically after the weeks of training beforehand. It kind of brought us right up into that first round against Carlow. Right,
okay. So the schedule is Wexford this Sunday, and then on March the 13th in Markievicz Park there is the James Hynes derby. This is the big one, London against Sligo. He's out for revenge. The Hynes family will be wearing Sligo jerseys, London jerseys. I mean, do they turn on you for the 13th of March only, or will they support London? This is the question.
I think they'll be supporting London. They'll obviously be at the game. They try and come to most games. Now, I know my mum was hoping to come over this weekend for the Wexford game, but she's leaving it off until the first round of the championship. But any home games in Ireland, they'll come, and they'll have whatever little bit of London gear I've left behind, they'll have that on them for sure.
Your mum's not worried about league. She's championship only.
She's championship. Well, she's a mad Mayo fanatic,
Right.
like the rest of them. But no, I suppose she has to shout on her son whatever he's wearing.
Yeah, fair enough. And then it's Cavan in London, and then you'll finish up March 26th in Thurles against Tipperary. So look, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to get ahead of myself, obviously, and it's not fair to put you in that position either, Liam. But put into words what potential promotion might mean for London.
Yeah, like it would be massive. I think once you get a winning games in Division 4, then you have to be looking towards the end. But for us, we're just taking it game by game. Coming into league campaign against Carlo, we didn't know really where we were at. It was a new team, new panel, and yeah, we got a good win in Carlo. And for me, the big thing for London is previous years we've had wins, and we've never backed it up really. We had a win, and then we went the week after and lost. So for me, the big thing is that we did go and back it up with another performance in the last 2 games, and we're just looking at performances. The mood in the camp is good, but every game is tough in Division 4. So Wexford will be coming this weekend. I've played them many a time, and they're a very good team, and they'll be coming this weekend, and they'll be well prepared, and it'll be another really tough battle. So something we'll have to go on the training ground tonight and get ready for, but it's one we're looking forward to as well.
Okay, fellas. Well, look, I know we have lots of listeners in London who may just have been bobbing along and not paying too much heed, but Wexford this Sunday and Cavan then the week after the Sligo game are both on in London. Free entry in Ruislip as well, which is a great initiative to try and get the buzz back. So if there's anyone listening and you want to bring on board as supporters, could do worse this year than get behind London's from this Sunday. So I will let you get going because I'm sure that London traffic is fun. So James Hynes, originally from Sligo, Liam Gavaghan, very much of London, captain of London. Keep it going, fellas. We might check in with you when you're in the Connacht final later on in the year.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
All right. See you. Thanks, Emil.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.